We have the New Mexico Bowl on tap with New Mexico State playing an in-state bowl game. They are 3.5-point favorites over Fresno State, and this game carries an over-under of 51.5 points. It kicks off at 5:45 Eastern on ESPN. If you're wondering why they have these weird times, it's just so that if the bowl game goes to overtime, it's not stepping on the next one's shoes, because they're pretty much all broadcast on ESPN except for a few on ABC and one on CBS and one on Fox. And I think CW got the Barstool one. But anyway, this game is played at University Stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It is one of 13 FBS stadiums that are hosting bowls. I would expect a lot of New Mexico State support here. It's 3.25 hours away, so it's not like right next door. It's not in their backyard, but the support for this team right now under Jerry Kill is pretty high. So Fresno, they opened as a 1.5-point favorite, and that was quickly corrected. Again, I think this is another example of a wrong posted line at the open. There's really no major opt-out news. I don't know why they favored Fresno State, to be honest. They lost their last 3 games, including a game to New Mexico and San Diego State. Yikes, those are some really bad teams that were like in full quit mode at the time, and they still lost to them. New Mexico State, they won their last 8 games before having a chance, in my opinion, to have beaten Liberty in the Conference USA Championship game. Pavia goes down. A new kid comes in, plays pretty well, but they just get outlasted. Pavia, he will play in this game, though. He did leave that championship game. I think it was an elbow injury, but he's been reported to be playing. This is a pretty easy handicap for me. New Mexico State is just playing way, way better football. Fresno, they fell apart after a 5-0 start. They have a minus 37-point margin from week 6 on. They allowed 33 points to San Diego State. Again, like I said, that team turned over coaches, and they were just in quit mode. And you allow 33 points to a team that can't make a first down. Fresno, they're atrocious against the run, too. They allowed over 330 yards on the ground to New Mexico. New Mexico State, one of the better rushing teams in the country, almost 200 yards, is about 13th in the country. I don't love New Mexico State on this side of 3, so I'd rather probably take a money line bet. If you can find about a 160 to 170 range, I would take that. Jerry Kill has these guys just playing out of their mind.
You could make a case for Jerry Kill as National Coach of the Year, Brett.
Yes.
New Mexico State's power rating improved 10.3 points since the preseason. That's number 3 nationally. Even more impressive, the Aggies won 10 regular season games. Now, they did play 13, keep that in mind, but they won 10 regular season games. Doesn't matter how many they played. I'm doing it based on projected win totals. 4.2 more than my preseason realistic expectations projected.
Jeez.
That's number 1 nationally. No team won more games relative to expectations in August than New Mexico State. The offense and defense were both projected sub 110, and both finished 70 or better. This was the best New Mexico State team since 2002 by my power ratings. What a year in Las Cruces. I don't know how else you can sum it up. They exceeded every expectation. They're my number 1 overachievers. Jerry Kill, man, give him a look for National Coach of the Year. It's off the radar, but he certainly deserves it for what this team accomplished relative to expectations. For Fresno State, fans have to be disappointed with how the season ended. Brett, you talked about it. 3 straight losses in games in which my numbers favored the Bulldogs. I mean, that's tough. Even so, Fresno State matched my preseason expectations going 8-4. I mean, they got off to a really hot start and really faltered down the stretch. However, my numbers did have Fresno with a 36% chance to make the Mountain West Championship game. That was second best, just ahead of Air Force's 35%. Talk about another theme that faltered down the stretch. So, all in all, I understand the frustration from Bulldogs fans, as this was the worst team in Fresno since the 2020 COVID-19 disrupted season.
Jerry Kill, he does this everywhere. It's no matter where he goes, he succeeds. He went 500 with that TCU team that had legitimately quit. Like, that's been widely reported. He won 10 games with Northern Illinois. He took Minnesota to the Texas Bowl and Citrus Bowl and a couple of AP top 25 finishes. I mean, geez, oh man, now he comes to New Mexico. There may be 3 programs in the country harder to win with than New Mexico State. And he just won 10 games with them.
Best New Mexico State team since 2002. Like, that's how I try to frame up in my thinking and review of a year. And we still got 1 game to go. But in my review of a year, I really like to say, okay, look at win-losses, yes, because at the end of the day, that's what's important. But from a true program building standpoint, how does their power rating compare to recent teams within that program? It's the best team in over 20 years that they've had at New Mexico State, and they have the wins to match it, which is really, really important from a perception and recruiting standpoint and all of that. So, man, maybe New Mexico State should have joined Conference USA a long time ago, I guess, is the takeaway.
Yeah, and the only thing that you can knock him on is he has a 1-5 record in bowl games, but this is an opportunity to improve that, in my opinion. Less so than he has a bad track record.